You never forget the sound of your sanctuary being violated. It was a Sunday, the kind where the wind smells like pine and time slows down. My off-grid cabin sat silent, tucked in the edge of the forest, far beyond where the HOA had any business sniffing around. That was the whole point: peace, privacy, independence, until the motion alarm went off. At first, I thought it was a bear, maybe a deer brushing past the sensor. But when the second ping came, followed by the slow, unmistakable creak of the front door, I knew something was wrong. I checked the live feed from my solar-powered camera rig, expecting maybe a lost hiker. Nope, there she was. Khakis, clipboard, and that smug HOA expression. I didn't even know how she got past the outer gate. Karen, the chairwoman of the HOA back in town. The same woman who tried to fine me for unauthorized vegetable growth in my own yard. What was she doing 12 miles from the subdivision? Inside my cabin, uninvited? She had no idea she'd just triggered a silent response system. She didn't know about the secondary alarm, or the auto-lock door she just walked through, or the sign she hadn't noticed yet. You are being recorded. Trespassing charges in progress. But that wasn't even the best part, because Karen thought she was about to file a complaint. What she didn't know was this cabin. It's off-grid, but it's also trap-rigged. And she just walked into my favorite kind of compliance check. Let me rewind a bit. My name's Caleb, and after 12 years, working tech support for people who shouldn't be allowed near a keyboard, I cashed out, sold everything, and bought 5 acres of wooded land in the hills. No streetlights, no sirens, just trees, stars, and the soft hum of my own solar system. The property was just outside city limits. A perfect loophole where I could live how I wanted without a soul telling me to mow the grass or match my curtains to the HOA's aesthetic vision. That was the plan. But plans don't account for people like Karen. She first crossed into my life when I was still transitioning out of suburbia. I had a modest house in one of those communities, with names like Willow Creek Meadows, even though there were no willows, creeks, or meadows. Just beige. Beige everything. The HOA there was practically a cult. And Karen, their high priestess, she once fined me $100 because the shade of green on my mailbox clashed with the seasonal landscaping. No joke, she walked around with a portable color wheel. So when I sold and disappeared into the trees, I thought I was free. Turns out, Karen didn't like when people evaded her influence. It started subtly. Notes left on my old social profiles. A fake complaint sent to the county about improper waste disposal, even though I had a perfectly legal composting setup. Petty things. I ignored it, until the solar drone. Chopping wood. I followed it back through the woods with binoculars, and caught sight of a black SUV with, get this, a Willow Creek Meadows HOA bumper sticker. That was my first real warning. Then came the flagged packages. Anything shipped to my cabin took mysteriously long to arrive. A neighbor told me they saw a woman matching Karen's description speaking with the local delivery driver. Coincidence? Maybe. Then came the letter. Handwritten, informal HOA language. This structure appears to be in violation of Municipal Code 814.3 regarding unzoned habitation. Please provide records of septic and energy compliance by end of month. No signature. Just a typed name, Karen Holt, HOA chairwoman. Except there was no HOA here. She had no jurisdiction, no right. And yet, she was escalating. I installed cameras, alarms, a silent lock system that only I could trigger remotely. Part caution, part preparation. And then the day came. Motion detected. Front door opened. She stepped inside like she owned the place, scanning every detail with that superiority complex you could smell from space. I sat in my truck a half-mile away, watching the live feed. I had options. Call the sheriff. Trigger the alarm. But I waited. Because that was just the beginning. Over the next week, the chaos escalated like a Karen-fueled wildfire. The sheriff paid me a visit. Apparently, someone had reported a suspicious, unlicensed habitation site and claimed I'd built without permits. The deputy, a local guy named Terry, who knew better, just chuckled when I showed him the proper paperwork. Sounds like someone's got too much time on their hands, he muttered, glancing at my very legal composting toilet. That same night, I spotted a trail of fresh boot prints near the eastern fence. Too small for me, too deep for hikers. She was scouting. Next came the anonymous flyers tacked to mailboxes in the nearest town. Illegal compound in our community. Are you safe? Complete with a blurry photo of my cabin from a drone. I tracked the print job to a local shop. The receipt? Paid in cash. But the clerk remembered her, clipboard and all. Still, I played it cool. Until the sabotage. One morning, I woke up to find my water filtration barrels tipped over. A solar panel cracked. My generator's ignition wire snipped. She wanted to break my system, make it look unstable, dangerous. So I upgraded. Motion sensors, trail cams, a few very persuasive no trespassing signs with legal codes listed in bold. The next night I got her on camera. Again. Same khakis. Same clipboard. This time, measuring tape. She was trying to document violations. But she made a mistake. She stepped past the infrared line I'd set. Triggered a time-stamped alert. I forwarded it straight to my lawyer. Because now, I wasn't just watching. I was documenting. Her final move came the day before the cabin incident. She hosted a town awareness meeting at a community hall, pretending to be a local official. Claimed I was running an illegal militia training ground. A few of my neighbors, actual veterans, attended just to laugh. One of them called me right after. "Man, she's cracked. You might want to hit record next time." That's when I knew it was time to end this. Because I wasn't just dealing with a busybody. I was dealing with a trespassing, defaming, boundary-breaking queen of delusion. So I set the trap. I knew she'd return. I made it easy. I left the front gate slightly open. I made sure my camera solar rig was spotless. I even left a decoy compliance form visible through the cabin window. Bait. Then I activated the lockdown system. When she opened that door, motion alarm triggered. Door auto-locked behind her. She stepped inside, unaware she'd just entered a digital mousetrap. Cameras tracked her every move. She started rifling through drawers, snapping photos, pacing like she was performing an inspection. Then she saw the sign. "You are being recorded. Trespassing charges in progress." Her face, worth it. She tried the door. Locked. She tried the windows. Secured. Then the voice came through the intercom. "Karen Holt, this is private property. Your actions are being documented for legal prosecution. Please remain calm. Law enforcement has been notified." I watched her spiral. She screamed. She argued with the intercom. She even tried to quote HOA bylaws like they meant anything in the wilderness. Meanwhile, I sent the footage to Deputy Terry and my lawyer. They both replied within minutes. "Be there in 10. When the sheriff's truck rolled up, lights off, Karen was still pacing inside like a trapped animal. Terry knocked. I unlocked the door remotely. "Ma'am," he said, "you're under arrest for trespassing, property damage, and impersonating an official." She wailed, claimed I'd lured her, said I was the threat. But the footage didn't lie. My cameras caught everything. Karen's grip on her precious clipboard shook as they led her to the cruiser. And just before they closed the door, I leaned in and said, "This cabin, fully compliant. Unlike your story, Karen was charged with trespassing, harassment, and impersonating a public official." The county judge, an outdoorsman himself, was not amused. He issued a restraining order, banned her from stepping within a mile of my property, fined her $5,000 for damages. But the real hit? The HOA board back in Willow Creek Meadows. Turns out they didn't know she'd gone rogue. When they saw the footage and read the charges, they voted her out unanimously. The new chairwoman? My old neighbor Marlene, who always said Karen had a god complex and a yardstick. Karen lost her position, her fake authority, and her platform. I uploaded a pixel-blurred version of the cabin, footage to a wilderness homestead forum. How to secure your off-grid. Property from Karen's. It went viral. My inbox exploded. People sent me stories, support, even offers to buy the blueprint to my lockdown system. I didn't sell it, but I did release an open-source guide, labeled it the Karen Countermeasure. Within weeks, my cabin was known online as the Fortress. Every time I get a visitor now, they ask, "Is this the Karen cabin?" I just nod and show them the sign. Trespassers will be filmed, fined, and featured. Peace returned. The trees didn't judge. The stars didn't file complaints. And my cabin stood stronger than ever. Karen's reign of clipboard terror was over. The lesson? You don't need to raise your voice to deliver justice. Just your standards. Some people think authority gives them the right to invade, judge, control. But when they walk into your world uninvited, let them walk into consequences. Silently, legally, beautifully. I still keep the intercom on, just in case. And every so often I re-watch the footage. Not out of spite. Out of satisfaction. Because justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it wears hiking boots and builds solar-powered defenses. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you made it this far, comment "justice served" below. And tell me, what would you have done if Karen walked into your cabin? Subscribe for more stories from the off-grid life, where the power is solar but the karma is electric. See you in the wild.